Hi.
Hey.
What are we talking about today?
Creepy mythological creatures.
Yes, that's better. You're like, yes.
It's like creepy creatures.
Okay, so today we're doing mythological creatures, and we're going to start with our TILs. Let's just call them TILs instead of like going over the...
Today you, I, they, who, where.
We all learn. So today I learned.
We learned.
TILs. And yeah, go.
All right.
Yours are fun.
So they are not fun.
Well,
the second honorable mention is fun. I actually read this. I think I officially read this yesterday because one of the girls I follow on Twitter, she's from Australia.
She's a model.
She is a model. She's very pretty. She does a lot of like alternative stuff. It's really fucking
That's cool.
She posted this on Twitter by saying like, how fucked up do you have to be to kill your grandkids?
I mean, to be fair, how fucked up do you have to be to kill anybody?
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
Period.
So in about 170 miles south of Perth in Australia, they got a call at like 5 a.m. on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
In the main house and a converted shed, they found the victims of a shooting who were identified on Saturday as Cinda and Peter Miles, their daughter Katrina Miles, and her 4 children.
Oh my god.
2 boys and 2 girls aged 8 to 13.
I mean, people have fucking kids in a very short amount of time, but that's still fucked up.
That's fucking devastating.
Yeah.
So they weren't searching for suspects because they immediately classified this as a murder-suicide.
That's really terrible. I don't know. I don't know how to even react to something like that. Like, I'm so numb.
Because of what happens out here in America?
Yeah. It's all sad.
Yeah. It's really, really...
Our TILs today are real happy.
Yeah. So, when I tried to talk to Sam about this, he mentioned that guns in Australia were outlawed.
Yeah.
They're not outlawed. They're very heavily restricted, though.
Yeah, they're like one bullet is like $10,000.
Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Because Mr. Miles had 3 rifles registered to him. So, they're still trying to complete the investigation. But from what I was reading, the grandfather was a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
The police automatically, after looking at the victims and stuff, they kind of classified this as a murder-suicide because the 7th victim, it looked suicidal.
Okay.
Not like somebody had shot at him, that he had shot at himself. Or like done something else to himself. He apparently had been absolutely planning this, which is completely awful. Totally just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, all of it's real bad. It's just they were our like shining beacon of hope in what gun control can do.
Well, so the 1996 massacre, because it was 35 people.
Jesus.
That event was the catalyst for a significant strengthening of the country's gun laws and ambitious gun buyback program.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? After the Port Arthur massacre, which is the 1996 one, Australia banned assault rifles and many other semi-auto rifles and shotguns, and bought firearms, mostly the banned weapons, from owners who turned them in.
Mm-hmm.
There was new registration requirements and restrictions on gun purchases. So it's hard to determine with much certainty how the changes affected the gun violence overall. But the grandfather, he had 3 rifles in his name registered to him. So
that's really fucked up.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
The father of 4 children found shot dead along with their mother in rural Western Australia has pointed the finger of blame at their grandfather. Aaron Cockman said he believed that Peter Miles, 61, had not snapped, but had been thinking this through for a long time. They were found in Osmington. not looking for any suspects. Have not confirmed the identity of the killer, but they say they believe him to be among the dead. 3 long firearms found at the property registered to him.
Yeah, it's overall just really fucking terrible. Man.
He's, oh my god.
What?
So the husband of the mother, he says, I still love who Peter was, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have Katrina, I wouldn't have any kids. So it's not some random guy off the street who's taken them from me. He gave them to me, and now he's taken them away. That's really upsetting.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's all murder. It's all murder.
Oh my god, he shot the kids while they were sleeping. Oh my god.
Hey, at least they didn't suffer.
That's awful.
That's the one positive thing you gotta take out of it.
So the husband says, this article said the husband said on Saturday he took some solace from knowing his children had died peacefully in their sleep.
Yep.
But added, I've lost everything in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it literally has.
Yeah, how fucking heartbreaking. And this is like 2 days before Mother's Day too.
Happy Mother's Day.
I don't think that's just an American thing. I think that's just a worldwide thing, isn't it?
Wait, Mother's Day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's not just an American thing.
Yeah, that's fucking awful.
I think. I don't know. But either way, to us, it was 2 days before Mother's Day. And that's just a shame.
Wait, was he gone? Because it says Katrina Miles lived on the property with her parents and 4 children. Was he gone? That's crazy. That's really upsetting.
Well, yeah.
Oh, he was estranged from Katrina at the time of the killings.
Oh, so like it was like they were divorced and he only saw his kids once in a while kind of situation.
Yeah, I think so. That's still really upsetting.
Yeah. Well, on a not much happier note, well, okay, let's do your runner-up. Not your runner-up, but like your honorable mention. It's a little bit better news. They're doing well.
I think it's very good news amid what has been happening to them their entire lives.
Yeah.
So the Turpin family case, the mother is apparently dazed and confused and is hardly responsive.
Is she in a psych ward?
Something like that.
That's stupid.
The aunt apparently had been begging to Skype the family for months, and the mother kept saying no. But the 7 adult children all live together now. They've been released from the hospital, and the hospital threw a party for them.
That's
so
good.
Cute. So the adults live together now, and obviously in an undisclosed location.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with the younger children still.
Well, they're probably in
foster care.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they have nowhere else to go. They're probably doing some situation where like the older kids are fighting for custody.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. But they're living in a rural California home. And they want to be known as survivors and not victims. The locals have been calling them the Magnificent 13. Isn't that cute?
I always like those kinds of names.
I know.
Makes them sound like superheroes.
I know. The uncle is really excited to talk to the family because the uncle and aunt have been trying really hard to get in contact with them.
Oh, is that?
I think that's the aunt.
So that's better news. A little bit before I dive into my...
Your really sad thing?
My really sad thing. Well, it's sad to me.
I mean, it's
sad. It's sad overall, but it's more of a, like, that's really sad that, like, the film industry lost this person and in such a horrific way. So, okay. But I think I learned this story a long time ago. When we watched the movie, my mom had told me something about how, like, this was her last film or whatever. But I was binging with Bobbish. I don't know if you watched that YouTube.
Yes. Sam loves him.
He's got such a beautiful voice. But he did a bunch of pies from this movie. And the movie's called The Waitress. And the movie is about this woman who's like severely mentally abused by her husband. She gives him all of her money, all of her tips every day. So he can control her and stuff. And she gets pregnant. And then basically in the end is like, fuck you, I'm going to be a woman, hear me roar, I'm leaving you. And so it was a huge girl power movie. But it was co-starred in, directed by, and written by a woman named Adrienne Shelly. And she was like a big deal. But by the time I saw this movie, she was already dead. So I did not hear about her until after it. So I didn't really have much connection to it. But the movie itself has a lot of memories for me that are really sweet and happy. So to hear that she died in such a brutal way,
that's anyway, you'll explain.
It's
my God.
So awful. Okay, so she was murdered. I don't know if I said that, but she was. Let me just read the Wikipedia thing. So again, her name is Adrienne Shelly. So the Wikipedia article shortens their names down to their last name.
Yeah.
Shelley was found dead at approximately 5:45 p.m. on November 1st, 2006. Her husband, Andy Ostroy, discovered the body in Abingdon Square apartment in Manhattan that she used as an office. Ostroy had dropped her off at 9:30 a.m. and he had become concerned because he hadn't heard from her, and so then he went to the apartment and asked to be let into the apartment by the doorman, and they found her body hanging from a shower rod in the bathtub with a bed sheet around her neck. And so the NYPD was just like, she killed herself. And her husband insisted that she was extremely happy. It says Ostroy insisted that his wife was happy in her personal and professional life, and in any case she would never have committed suicide, leaving her 2.5-year-old daughter motherless. Which, same.
Yeah, same.
He protested, and they re-examined the body and the bathroom, and they found a sneaker print in dust on the toilet beside where her body had been. The suspect print was matched to a set of other shoe prints in the building where construction work had been done on the day of Shelley's death. On November 6, 2006, the press reported the arrest of the 19-year-old construction worker Diego Pilco, an Ecuadorian illegal immigrant who, according to police, had confessed on tape to attacking Shelley and then staged the fake suicide by hanging her. Pilco's original version of what happened was that when Shelley asked if the noise could be kept down, he threw a hammer at her head.
Why the fuck? What kind of reaction is that?
He's like, hard day work, here's a hammer to the head. I don't fucking
Christ.
know. I mean, I don't know. It's just such a crazy reaction. Although they didn't really go into it, so like she might have been kind of bitchy about it, because I know that when I'm in the middle of working, if I get interrupted, I can be like, shut the fuck up, you know? So maybe he was just like, I'm not dealing with this. Either way, fucking whatever.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and afraid she might make a complaint, and afraid she would make a complaint that might result in his deportation, followed her back to her apartment where the 40-year-old hit him and was killed in a fall during the struggle. Subsequently, Pilco gave a completely different account in which he said while on a break he had noticed Shelley returning to the apartment and followed her. After assaulting her and rendering her unconscious, he killed her by staging the fake suicide. The second version was consistent with the lack of dust on Shelley's shoes, which she was not wearing when found, and seemed to be a confession to murder, but prosecutors reportedly thought if charged with murder, Pilco might return to his original account and jury trial could find him guilty of a lesser charge. The medical examiner determined that Shelley was still alive when hanged.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Pilco pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, manslaughter, and was sentenced to 25 years in prison without parole. At Pilco's sentencing on March 13, 2008, Shelley's husband, along with family members, said that they would never forgive him. Andy Ostroy said of Pilco, "You are nothing more than a cold-blooded killer," and that he hoped he would rot in jail.
Good.
He said, or the husband said, in remembering Shelley, Ostroy said, "Adrienne was the kindest, warmest, most loving, generous person I knew. She was incredibly smart, funny, and talented. A bright light with an infectious laugh and a huge smile." She had a huge mouth. Like, if you saw a picture, actually, yeah, see, she had a huge mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Like Julia Roberts status. That radiated inner and outer beauty. She was my best friend and the person whom I was supposed to grow old with. So, there's that. She was murdered by an illegal immigrant, which I'm surprised he wasn't just deported. Like, what I hope happens is either he gets, like, murdered in jail, or he serves the 25 years, and then after he's done with the 25 years, then gets deported.
Yeah, right.
That would be not as good as murder, but still. So, like I said, this is sad and for me, because not only was she a female filmmaker and like a woman who got murdered and had a loving family, but the movie she made really bonded me and my mom, and in the movie, there's a song that the lead actress is Carrie Russell. She sings it just out loud because her mom used to sing it to her, and it's a really sweet song. And my mom used to sing it to Sawyer, my brother, when he was born, to like calm him down. So if you, getting like emotional, if you want to, because her husband created a foundation which supports women filmmakers, and it's called the Adrienne Shelly Foundation. So, I mean, go to the website and see what you can do, donate, or even just
spread the word.
Just spread the word, yeah, because like anything that helps women filmmakers, because I know of like women in horror, and then this, and I'm sure there's more. I don't know why I don't know of more off the top of my head, but it's a good thing, and it was a sad situation. But
yeah, it's fucked up. I hate that.
It's really fucked up. Yeah.
I mean, he's not a kid anymore.
Nope.
Still hate that guy. Fucking, he sucks.
Anyways, let's get out of our sad spiral and go on to our mythological monsters.
Our creepy babies. Okay.
Okay, so creepy monsters.
Yeah. I don't know. Mine aren't really... Okay, from my point of view, they're not very creepy.
Well, yeah.
One of them kind of can be, but
okay. So myth. I want to say mythy monsters, but that just sounds like I'm saying methy monsters.
Oh, no monsters on meth, not here. Nope. Nuh-uh.
Especially our creatures, man. If they got a hold of meth, we would be fucked.
My ladies wouldn't be so pretty anymore. Okay. The first mythological creature / I guess, depending on how you look at it, they could be monsters too. I don't know.
Depending on that movie we just watched.
Yeah. The first one is my babies, the HULDER from Norway, Scotland. What was the other one I said? Sweden?
Probably.
Anyway.
Or the HULDRA.
HULDER. Yeah. It depends on where you're from, what your local folklore says. But typically, other than I think Scotland, it's HULDER or HULDRA.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of talked about this really, really briefly in the fairy tale episode.
Okay.
Because I wanted them to be more fairy tale based, but there are no fairy tales about them because it's like mythological, like folklore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of like there are quote unquote sightings.
Like the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, but there's no like fairy tales of it. There's not really any fairy tales of Nessie either. Which they should.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't show... Never mind. So, they are my favorite forest ladies. They are basically, like, mermaids of the woods.
Yeah.
They're very much, like, beautiful, just ethereal beings that, once you get close to them, they have two kind of reactions to you. If you're really, really nice to them, it's said that they could be really nice back.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're an asshole, they'll fucking take you and murder you.
Yeah.
So
it's not like a situation where they would just like murder a child because it was there. It's a child will be innocent and nice most of the time.
Unless the kid like threw fucking rocks at it.
Fucking
it's like
asshole.
You have a fucking cow table or cow tail. Fuck you. Yeah. So speaking of cow tails, they have depending on your region and stuff, they've got multiple different physical traits.
Multiple different.
Okay. Either
I like to point out your flaws, Mikayla.
Shut up. It's fine.
I don't actually. I'm not a bitch. I just want to make that clear. No.
It's fine.
Wait, did you just inadvertently call me a bitch?
Shut up. I call a lot of people a bitch. It's actually not. I don't know. It might be a bad term now. I don't know.
It's probably come full circle and it's no longer a bitch.
It's very lovely for me because I'm just like, bitch, please. Anyway,
back to our forest bitches.
My forest bitches. Thank you. I was gonna say that too. Their different attributes depending on your region can be cowtails, beautiful ethereal ladies with cowtails, beautiful ethereal ladies with hollowed out like tree trunk bark backs. Like their backs look like an old rotting tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then one of the third attributes, I think, which is mostly in Scotland, is they can have foxtails.
Hey.
Which is actually really pretty and kind of kinky.
Any of those little furries?
Yeah. Not being mean about it.
No, I'm just like
people.
that's probably where they
or like pet play.
I don't
Anyway,
know what that is.
I'm not gonna go into to a BDSM thing.
We did say we were gonna do that with my friends.
We did, yes.
I don't know. Maybe we should do like a poll on Instagram. Be like,
Oh,
would
maybe.
you guys be interested in like kinky sex episodes?
So when I talk about like rotting tree backs, that's what I mean.
Ew, that's like a vagina back.
It's not a vagina.
In that drawing, it is.
Oh my god!
I kind of
like
understand
that, you know?
Okay, yeah. So it's just like scaly tree.
Yeah,
like
and then this
scaly
one's
tree.
got the scaly tree bark back, and then also the cow's tail.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on your folklore. Oh, there's the foxtail right there. See?
Aww.
There you go. And the hollowed out tree backs. Yeah. So they are supposedly absolutely just beautiful, and they can lure men into the forest for. They've also lured women into the forest too. I'm not being sexist.
General people.
Yeah, they'll lure people into the forest to like either they'll make these men fall in love with them and make them marry them. Which if the holder get married, they can be human.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like a less complicated mermaid situation.
Less, I'm going to sink your ship and kill everybody. More,
that's the dark version. I'm talking about the Little Mermaid version.
Less Ursula. More I can talk. Here are my legs.
Okay.
They so either like to get married, and if they get married, they turn human, or just to flat out fucking kill these guys.
Mm-hmm.
One of the here's another one. They're held to be kind to charcoal burners, so the people who work in like coal mines and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. According to some urban legend website I pulled this off of and forgot to put my website down. Watching their charcoal kilns while they rested. So they would burn the charcoal, make it so it worked or some shit. I don't remember.
Okay.
If she would watch out for him while all the miners and the burners slept and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they would leave offerings for her as like food, water, stuff like that. So that she would continue to watch the kilns until like something happened. If something happened, she would wake them.
Okay.
And then there was the story about the innocent with the boy who was fishing. Did I tell you the story? I think I might have mentioned it.
I said so earlier when we were watching the movie. That's your recommendation.
Yes.
I said the innocent, and you said, "Oh yes," and I think that you actually meant a movie or something or a story, but I was literally talking about like innocent people.
Oh no, it's kind of hand in hand.
Oh, okay.
So there is a story about a boy who was fishing,
mm-hmm.
and he wasn't getting any luck. There was no fish where he was, and a beautiful lady with this lovely dress came out, and he saw her tail poking out under her skirt. And the two ways you can approach this is either like, hey, I can see your tail, which got you killed.
Yeah. Or
you're nice about it. So he basically said, like, there is something poking out of your dress. Like, it was some, like, old English, like, doth see. Something like that. And she was like...
have a bovine tail.
But so she said, thank you. She tucked her tail under her dress, and then she told him where to go fish. She was like, you're gonna have better luck over there, and he did.
That's cool.
Yeah, but then there's other stories of them being heartless murderers.
Well,
so,
yeah. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. Same with mine. I mean, I think one of mine is just a heartless murderer, and I think one of mine is either a murderer or a nice little thing.
It depends on your lore. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Oh my god. So, remember when I said if they got married, they'd be human? Yeah. They're ugly.
As humans?
They turn ugly.
Aww.
And have the strength of 10 men.
Oh, so like you find a HULDRA holder, and then they're all pretty and ethereal, and then you're like, hey, I want to marry you, and they're like, boom, ugly witch.
The second, it's like the second the marriage is like set,
official,
is when they get like ugly.
Okay, so technically what you're saying is that they get to have, the men get to have sex with them while they're still pretty, because consummating the marriage is technically making it official. So like, I guess they get in one good run.
Oh my god, yeah. So that's a fun part. I mean, the strength of 10 men is helpful. Fuck those guys.
No, could you imagine like having sex with this beautiful woman and then like going to sleep and waking up and she's like a completely different person? I would freak out.
Okay, so
just because it would be so startling. Like if you knew it was coming, maybe, but like if they didn't get warned.
Think about that old stereotype of like men blacked out in bars looking for beautiful women.
That's true.
They wake up
goggles,
and they see
beer goggles.
Yeah. They wake up and they're like, holy shit, you're actually hideous, and it's like really damaging and fucked up.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean to laugh. If that's happened to you, I apologize.
Yes. It's upsetting in all ways, but these guys fucking deserve it. Because, I don't know. For some reason.
Why do they deserve it?
I don't know. For some reason, they just deserve it.
If they're willing to marry, like
Well, they're under a spell, though. It's they're sirens, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
But, so, your examples of
in media?
Yeah.
So there's really only, like, two movies.
Yeah, that was the problem with finding mythological creatures, is that unless you find some like artsy fartsy film like we did, there aren't really. Oh, mine have a lot more, but and also yours, your other one kind of does, but like there's only a few of anything. There's never like it's not like vampires where like
there's like 40,000 movies
where like every other movie has some sort of vampire in it.
Yeah, right. Oh, this is actually a recent movie. So there's one in media that I had actually seen and I found a couple of years ago. And there's one that I hadn't even heard of or seen anything about.
You mentioned the one that we just watched a few episodes ago.
Yeah, I mentioned Thal in the fairy tale episode as my recommendation, and it's really fucking good. So have fun with that. It's really
good. It was a recommendation before, but because we're now doing our like Patreon episodes, I was like, let's do this and we can actually fucking talk about it because I actually really enjoyed it.
It was really good. Yeah. So I've been watching that movie for a couple of years. I found it originally on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I think no.
You might remember seeing the like poster and just being like, oh, cool.
It's such a pretty poster.
Naked cow lady.
Yeah.
Naked blonde cow lady. But there apparently was a movie in 2016 that came out called HULDRA Lady of the Forest.
Is it Norwegian again?
Berlin.
It's German.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
It says, Nana lives a lonely and regimented life in Berlin. When her life crashes, she receives a phone call from her long-lost love, Martin, who reminds her of their carefree childhood. Martin wants her to join him for a hike in the wilderness together, so fucking ritual type shit.
Yeah.
With some of their mutual childhood friends, ritual. One of them, Peter, the Swede.
I really thought you were just gonna be like, one of them peed on her. That's how I finished it in my head. I was like, whoa.
Has been told of a strange hermitic hippie-like society. Hermitic? I don't know. Out in the Swedish wilderness, and the group set off on an adventure unaware of the fact that once they reach their destination, nothing will ever be the same again.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah, right. As they're drawn deeper and deeper into the forest, mysterious events start to unsettle in the dynamics of the group. Reality begins to shift in ways none of them could have imagined, and relations between the friends become strained and volatile. They had come looking for an adventure, but nothing could have prepared them for what lies in wait. And it's called HULDRA, the Lady of the Forest. Yeah. So obviously they're going to see a HULDRA. But
is it a pretty HULDRA or is it?
You can't even tell.
Ooh.
It's a tree. So the cover is
like an old.
It's
birch.
A trunk of a tree. Is it birch? It might be birch. A trunk of a tree. You can kind of vaguely see the bottom half of a woman's angry face. She looks angry to me.
She probably is. She's like, you're disturbing my peace.
Right?
I was resting.
And then there's some like ritualistic marking on where her forehead would be of like a circle and like a male's or like a person's head and arms all stretched out and stuff. So we'll have to find that eventually because I had never heard of this until I looked for it the other day. But yeah, that's my first one.
It's your HULDRA?
My HULDRA, or my HULDER.
So, you can probably do both of yours because I need to explain how mine are extremely similar because I did bad stuff. So, you can go with your second one.
You did bad stuff. Okay. So my second one is honestly one of the mythological loves of my life.
Oh, puppy.
My little Greek mythology babies. Is Cerberus.
Mm-hmm. The three-headed pupoo.
My three-headed pupperino.
My
three-headed pupperino. God damn it, Kayla.
Sorry, I lost it.
You're dying.
Oh, okay.
So I have managed to fall in love with Cerberus throughout. Shut up. Throughout a couple of different methods. I fucking hate you.
Oh, you know, like when you get really tired and you're just like...
You're delirious. You're running on fumes.
Yes, that is not wrong.
Do you have your energy drink?
I do, but it's like half gone.
Oh, Jesus. If you need coffee, there's cold coffee. You just heat it up.
Here you go.
So I first fell in love with Cerberus when I was really little. Obviously, because Disney.
Disney. I love that fucking movie.
Oh, and obviously, we're going to talk about Hercules because Greek mythology.
I like the ladies, the muses.
Yes. Oh, my wifeys.
They're so pretty.
I love them. I actually, if I'm ever on like a road trip, if I'm driving for more than like 45 minutes, I have to play the Hercules soundtrack. I have to.
I love it.
It keeps me upbeat.
When I was in elementary school, someone did we had a talent show, and one of the like really popular girls in my school did the Meg song.
Oh, the
Can't Say I'm in Love.
Yeah, that one.
Or something like that.
I really love that song.
Me too.
That's my like guilty pleasure song. It's not even guilty pleasure. Literally anybody who's seen Hercules more than likely likes that song.
And if you don't, we don't want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Can't sit with us.
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
Yes. So obviously from what we could see from, let's take Hercules for an example, Cerberus is a 3-headed dog who...
Cerberus wasn't really in that movie.
No, he's the 12th labor.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be very minimalist in all of Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hercules has to fight the Cerberus. Hercules wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember correctly. Let's tell me if you remember. Does he fight Cerberus with weapons in the movie? He doesn't have a sword or anything. I think he chokes Cerberus.
He gives him a steak. Well, no, that's Hades gives him a steak, and they fight over it. But I don't remember if does he actually fight Cerberus?
I don't remember. I think it was just a brief, like, hey, you're in the underworld, this is my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so in Greek mythology, Hercules' 12th labor to go back to hang out with Zeus.
The heavens.
Whatever, anyway. So, he has to bring back Cerberus.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a couple of different tellings of it. One of the tellings is that he just went to the underworld and asked Hades, like, hey, can I have your dog? And Hades was like, yeah, if you could defeat it without any weapons. And I was like, it's fucking Hercules. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So he defeats it and takes him up to Daddy, and Daddy's like, oh, sweet, cool. Another telling is that Hermes and Athena helped, but still no weapons. And that he choked out one of the heads, and then he fought the other 2 heads, and it was fine. My favorite thing. So Cerberus is the son of Typhon and Echidna. He's a little fuzzy, but he's not fuzzy, he's pokey. But so apart from his 3 heads, he also had a serpent's tail, the mane of snakes, and the claws of a lion.
Damn.
He's a feisty puppy.
So he wasn't just a puppy with 3 heads. Like, I think in Disney's Hercules, was like a pit bull with 3 heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No,
yeah.
That was Harry Potter.
It's kind of both. Because in Hercules, he's still an all-black dog, vicious fangs, not much in regards to eyes. I think they just had white eyes on him or some shit, like white or red. And he had, I think in Hercules, he had like a spiked collar or something as like a ownership thing. Like, hey, this is my dog.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was Hercules or Harry Potter, but those are the only 2.
I don't think it was Harry Potter.
No,
because in Harry Potter, I think he just had a regular collar. But that's also where I fell in love with Cerberus, by the way, Harry Potter. So he is all over the fucking place in media. He's in games, he's in movies, he's in books, he's on pottery, he's just all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
There's apparently a company that's called Cerberus. I don't know what they do. Look at that one.
I think they're
pretty.
Oh, that reminds me of the fucking Annihilation bear.
Oh, yeah. He apparently now, according to Dante's Divine Comedy, Dante's Inferno, whatever you want to call it. He resides in the third circle of hell with the gluttons. His eyes are no longer eyes, and he's also no longer a dog. He's really fucking creepy. Here we go. So basically, his heads are tongues.
In the Dante's Inferno one?
Yeah. His heads are tongues, his legs and his heads all come out. His legs are hands of a creature. And his heads all come out of the creature's mouth. That's what he looks like.
Ugh, no, I don't like it. What are those?
The little spikies? Little pokey things?
Are those his eyeballs?
They're supposed to be, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he's got the little xeno-mouthy, teethy dick things. They look like little penises. And that's how he looks in the animated Dante's Inferno, which is based off the Dante's Inferno game. Which is based off of, obviously, Dante's Divine Comedy.
I just can't get past the xeno dicks.
It's fine. So he's ugly.
That was not a pretty puppy.
He's not.
He's...
So, my in media for Cerberus, because if you look up Greek mythology, you can find whatever you fucking need to about Cerberus.
Literally, probably some of the first creatures you'll find with Greek mythology.
There is usually some semblance of Cerberus somewhere in there. So, obviously, he was in Hercules. Mm-hmm. There's apparently a TV movie made by the Sci-Fi Channel in 2005 called Cerberus.
Did you see it?
I did not see it. I don't care about looking it up because apparently Cerberus is just like a side plot. Yeah.
Like the dog?
Yeah. So
it's called Cerberus?
I'll read you the plot.
Oh, it got a 3.8.
Oh, it got 2 stars, buddy.
That's beautiful.
IMDb, it got 2 stars. The plot says, in Bucharest, Romania, a priceless breastplate of Attila the Hun is robbed from the National Museum of Antiques by a gang leaded, that's not proper grammar, by the despicable Marcus Cutter. And the curator, Radu, is killed by one of the thieves. Meanwhile, in New York City, the former assistant of Professor Radu, Dr. Samantha Gaines, is waiting for the valuable piece for an exhibition. The agent Jake Adams visits Samantha in the museum to tell her about the heist and the death of her friend, and she talks about the legend and that the breastplate would have the inscription of the location of the Sword of Mars, which is guarded by Cerberus and made Attila invincible. When Samantha's brother, an addicted gambler, Jack, is kidnapped, she believes his debt of $2,000 could be the reason. $2,000. Fucking kidnapped him for $2,000. And travels to Romania, invited by the evil kidnapper Cool J Sung, getting involved in a supernatural adventure with Jake. So, as usual, Cerberus is guarding something.
Yeah.
But the movie is called Cerberus, and it's about getting a sword and a breastplate that was wielded by Attila the Hun, because apparently that's a thing.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know.
It does not sound very good to me, but, to each their own. Got 2 stars. Don't look good. Harry Potter. Fluffy.
Yes.
My pupper of the year, soothed by music.
Harp music.
Hagrid's little baby. He, aside from Hercules, where I was just like, look at that dog! Because I was a kid.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, definitely, when you're first afraid of him, and then once you realize he's soothed to sleep with, harp music, you're like, oh, he's just a baby. He's just doing his job.
Yeah, he's a guard dog.
Yeah. I also, when I was a kid, I conveniently had, do you remember the licensed Cerberus fluffy toys? It was one of those thick, sew over stuff that held its shape really well, like Cerberus stuffed animals.
No.
Okay, well, I had one. And they're conveniently selling them again. Yeah, at Barnes & Noble. So
I really want that. I have a traumatic experience with getting stuffed animals from Disney movies.
We're going to touch on that. We did talk about Dante's Inferno.
I mean, same thing.
Yeah, right. And then a really quick honorable mention, because I am a child at heart. I'm just a child. He shows up in My Little Pony a lot. So apparently in the new My Little Pony, Cerberus helps them defeat somebody. He just looks like a big, guard dog. He's sweet.
A big puppy.
He's sweet.
Did you want to know about my traumatic experience?
Yes, I did. That's why I'm looking at you with my head on my shoulder.
Proceed. So when I was I want to say 8, maybe I was still in elementary school. Maybe I was in 4th grade. something like that. Either way, my parents got me a giant stuffed. Is it Miko or Nico?
Miko, the raccoon.
The raccoon from Pocahontas, like the body-sized one, like a giant stuffed one. I loved it.
Did you put it up against a heater on accident?
No.
Okay.
Worse than that, and this is why I don't fucking trust people. First with the goddamn headband that I talked about in an earlier episode, and now with this. No. Yeah. So for that year, they were like, all right, if you want to bring your favorite item or stuffed animal or whatever, and
like
get your
show
picture.
And tell.
I think it was show and tell, but they also allowed us to like get our school pictures taken with it.
Oh, so cute! I wish I could do that.
Right? So somewhere I have a picture of me and my stuffed raccoon from Pocahontas.
Stuffed Miko.
Yeah.
Did he have a little like cracker, or was it just like a?
What do you mean a cracker?
Well, in Pocahontas, he has these little crackers.
Oh no, it was just a stuffed raccoon basically.
Oh, okay.
All Disneyified. But I left it at school and someone fucking stole it. Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that person. Fuck them.
I have traumatic experiences from my childhood.
It's okay. I had somebody. This is my fault. Speaking of stuff getting stolen at school, this is totally my fault. I had my mom's iPod video in my backpack in 9th grade, and I left my backpack in the women's locker room. Well, I had locked the stall door, and I went under the stall because I was like, fuck it. I couldn't store my backpack anywhere.
Yeah.
And I had like after school club or some shit. Anyway, no, I think I went out to try and get high with my friends actually. Anyway,
nice.
So I came back to the bathroom thinking that like nobody would have gone in there. Yeah, apparently somebody had gone in, ransacked my backpack, and left. Took the iPod video.
But a bunch of
I actually found out who it was.
Oh no! And
they refused to own up to it, even though my mom's name was etched into the back. I know.
That's stupid.
They're fucking stupid. Anyways, so speaking of getting stuff stolen at school, it was my fault because I left my backpack with at the time something very precious in it. Now it's like $10 on eBay.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't.
I haven't seen an iPod video in years, and it was like the big black one too. My mom was like, "It was fucking expensive." I'm like, "I'm sorry. Shit happens, Mom. At least I'm not dead."
Whoa, that went dark.
I mean, there's worse things in the world, Kayla.
Speaking of worse things.
Oh, God.
No, not really.
Okay.
You had chosen your animals a long time ago. You just hadn't written your notes.
Yeah.
But I
got those fuckers in there. I was like, these are mine.
So I don't say a boo-boo because like both of mine are offshoots of yours. Like, literally, if you go to my Wikipedias, they're like, also see Cerberus, or also see
HULDRA.
HULDRA, yeah. So, my first one is a hellhound, which...
Are you talking about Harry Potter? Because Sirius Black was a hellhound. He was regarded as a hellhound, because he was an omen of death.
Yeah, it's in there. I didn't want to mention that one, because it was really...
guess what? I did.
Yeah, so you did. You did it for me. But we did talk, like your HULDRA monster creature.
My babies, my sirens.
We talked about it a few episodes ago. I don't remember. Oh, it was someone for Urban Legends. Someone mentioned the Black Shuck.
Yeah.
Which is a hellhound, but I wanted to go more into like
hellhounds.
Well, just like more about their history, and so like the Black Shuck was very much like a good or evil, depending on your mythology. Same thing, pretty much for just a plain old hellhound. Harry Potter, Fluffy.
Hey!
So not everywhere. So the general description of a hellhound is a monstrous dog leashed to the spiritual world, nicknamed the bearer of death. In some parts of the world, they can often found guarding entryways to the afterlife or sulking in the shadows behind a person who is doomed to die soon, like we discussed in the Black Shuck. The Wikipedia says a hellhound is a supernatural dog in folklore. A wide variety of ominous or hellish supernatural dogs occur in mythologies around the world. Features that have been attributed to hellhounds include mangled black fur, glowing red eyes, super strength, speed, ghostly or phantom characteristics, and a foul odor.
Ooh,
so stinky puppy.
It's Bubba.
Certain European legends state that if someone stares into a hellhound's eyes 3 times or more, that person will surely die.
So like a Bloody Mary of dogs?
Yes. In cultures that associate the afterlife with fire, hellhounds may have fire-based abilities and appearance. They are often assigned to guard entrances to the world of the dead, such as graveyards, burial grounds, or undertake other duties related to the afterlife or the supernatural, such as haunting lost souls or guarding a supernatural treasure. In European legends, seeing a hellhound or hearing it howl may be an omen or even a cause of death. I mean, yeah, that would be fucking scary.
Yeah, right? Fuck no.
They are said to be protectors of the supernatural, guarding the secrecy of supernatural creatures or beings in the world, or bringer of death.
Yeah.
Some supernatural dogs, such as the Welsh, I'm not even going to say it, the Quinn Awin, that's what it looks like. The CWNANNWN.
Have you ever tried clicking into it?
Yeah.
See if there's a translation.
It's down here.
Oh.
So it's Coon Anoon.
Yeah.
Coon Anoon, the Hounds of Anoon. Were the spectral hounds of Noon, the other world of Welsh myth. They associated with the form of the wild hunt, presided over by the Goon ap Nude rather than the Arun king of Anoon.
Oh my god, there's a lot of words happening.
I love the Welsh language. Christians came to dub these mythical creatures as the hounds of hell or the dogs of hell. Why are you up in my space?
Because I'm reading with you. I don't have my glasses on. I have to be close.
It theorized that they were owned by Satan.
Ooh.
Satan. However, the Anoon of medieval Welsh traditions as otherworldly paradise and not a hell or abode, as otherworldly paradise and not a hell or abode of dead souls. In Wales, they were associated with migrating geese.
Whoa.
Supposedly because their honking in the night is reminiscent of dogs barking. They're supposed to hunt on specific nights, special nights, or just lot of them. The hounds are sometimes accompanied by fearsome hags called Malt y Noose, Matilda of the Night, an alternative name in Welsh folklore. He's the hounds of the mothers. So basically, like we went over with the black shuck, they if you're dying, they'll show up. If you need to be protected in some mythologies, they'll protect you. Some of their actual supernatural abilities. The hounds may have supernatural skills that make them both powerful allies and fearsome enemies. To begin with, they have incredible speed and strength. They can outstrip a cheetah in a race and rip down the trees with their claws. They are also masters of disguise, able to conjure up cloaks of mist, shape-shift into various forms, or even vanish into thin air. They scorch in the cultures that associate the hellhounds with fire. They scorch the ground where they walk, and their claws are as hot as flames. They are brilliant at dramatic entrances and exits, conjuring up pillars of fire to transport them.
Oh, my babies.
Overall, the hellhound's most dreadful ability is uncanny sense for death. So, in most folklores, they're just not a good thing. In Eastern folklore in China, a huge black demon dog named Tiangu, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is blamed for causing eclipses by eating the sun or the moon. In Japan, a wolf-like demon called Okuri Inu is said to follow men and women who travel by night. If the traveler has a worthy heart, the Okuri Inu will protect him from other monsters. If, however, the developer displays cowardice or clumsiness, usually by tripping or falling, the hound will devour him.
Jesus.
The black shuck, the coon and noon. So, in media, we know from what you just said, they are found in... So, the reason why it's kind of on my bad is because basically in the Wikipedia and in this mythology.net, they're like, see Cerberus. So
yeah, right.
Cerberus in Harry Potter, and then you mentioned Sirius Black, as well as the Hound of Baskerville from Sherlock, both the book and the movies or the TV show, and then so the one that I really wanted to go into is because the hellhound is usually described as being like a big dog. Yeah. Like a big ominous dog. But in the Omen, they are in the new one, not the old one, because in the old one I think it's a Rottweiler. In the 70s version it's a Rottweiler. But in the new one, it's like a little fluffy, dark jet black German Shepherd.
Oh,
super
baby.
cute, yeah. But then the Omen had its mythology, has its own mythology behind what a hellhound is and what its abilities are. So in the Omen of 2006, during Damien's 5th birthday party, a hellhound appears and forces Holly, which is his nanny, to hang herself in front of everyone. Shortly afterwards, Damien notices the hellhound in the lawn and waves to it. Mrs. Baylock, who is the family caretaker, later brings the hellhound to the Thorne estate as a watchdog for Damien without notifying the parents. When Robert, who's the dad, orders her to have it removed, the hellhound does not leave. When the dad returns from Israel to kill Damien, the hellhound hears him and chases him through the kitchen until Robert traps it down and traps him in a pantry. In the Omen, the abilities are the hellhounds are shown to be able to cause people to do what their master wants them to do simply by staring into their eyes. It was also shown in the final conflict that they can sense when a powerful holy event such as Cassiopeia alignment happens. So like they're just like super in tune with their owner, especially when their especially when their owner is like demonifying. Yes.
Demonicizing.
They are demon inclined.
There we go.
But yeah, so that's a hellhound. Hellhounds, like I said, we went over a little bit.
Puppy boys.
It depends on your folklore. There are literally on the folklore in the Wikipedia, there is 11 and then Cerberus. So there are like 12 different versions of what a hellhound could be. So many fucking things. Like every culture has some version of a hellhound, only because like I think a lot of people are scared of death and they want to create something that makes death a little bit more
what better than, a black dog or a black cat?
Right.
One of my favorite references to hellhounds is actually from Supernatural.
Yeah, I love their hellhounds.
Invisible ass hellhounds, like that was controlled by Crowley.
That was one of the abilities, was to disappear entirely.
Yeah, I think for this one, I don't think you can. It's like the Harry Potter thing. You can't see them unless you've been to hell.
Yeah, I like that one the best. Okay, so my second one is a succubus, which also in Wikipedia.
Yay!
You can see the C also, and it is HULDRA. Similar creatures in folklore as a HULDRA. So the succubus is a demon in female form or supernatural entity that appears in dreams and takes the form of a woman in order to seduce men, usually through sexual activity. The male counterpart is the incubus, which we'll get to in a second. Religious traditions hold that repeated sexual activity with a succubus may result in the deterioration of health or mental state or even death. In modern representations, a succubus may or may not appear in dreams and is often depicted as a highly attractive seductress or enchantress, whereas in the past, succubi were generally depicted as frightening and demonic. So the physical description in the today's word of succubus. Today the word succubus conjures up in voluptuous images, women with long wavy hair, silky skin, and flawless curves. They wear skimpy leather costumes. To flaunt their bodies, and they don't try to hide the telltale signs of their demonic nature. Bat wings, barbed tails, curled horns, and glowing eyes are all common amongst modern succubi. But these demons weren't always so glamorous. From the dawn of their legend, through the medieval ages, succubi were considered hideous, deformed creatures.
Like that?
That's the modern one.
Well, yeah.
That's a baby.
They're pretty.
She's got little cat ears.
No, they're horns. Ears. They're horns.
They were somewhat smaller than the average people. They stooped and crawled instead of walking upright. Their feet were like raptors, and their faces like gargoyles, and their fingertips in ragged claw. They were bitches, usually.
Yeah.
Their personality. Again, there's a distinct difference between today's succubi and the succubi of ancient legend. The she-demons of today have intense charisma and seductive power to match their good looks. They are clever creatures who can tantalize men with their words as much as their bodies. They can be domineering and vengeful if they are slighted, but they ultimately take pride in their ability to please and manipulate men. So, female sociopaths.
Yay! Oh, I love them.
The ancestors of today's succubi, on the other hand, had personalities as nasty as their looks.
Oh.
They were sneaky, controlling, and malicious. Despite being sex-crazed, they had no interest in pleasing men. Instead, they used sex for their own purposes to please themselves. I mean, female empowerment. To corrupt the pious, to gain life force, or even to have children. So, I mean, I don't know if I need to actually go into Incubus, but it was basically her partner in crime. It's a male sex demon. They attack women during the night. Since demons cannot reproduce on their own, the succubi and incubi work together to produce offspring. So basically, a bunch of kinky sex goes on, and then they can have babies.
Yay, babies!
The most famous one is Lilith.
My woman.
She is the most famous seductress of all time. She is known as the mother of all succubi, and she appears in Sumerian, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Judaic, and Christian mythology. Lilith first appeared in Sumerian culture as a goddess of fertility and witchcraft. Later, the Assyrians and Babylonians associated her with dark demons. The Greeks gave Lilith, called Lamia. Wow, it's Lamia. I don't know why it went like Lamia. An extensive backstory. She was a beautiful woman who Hera transformed into a monster after her beauty attracted Zeus's roving eye.
Ooh.
In her new monstrous form, Lamia, I don't know, roamed the world seducing men and eating babies. That's a new one.
Ooh.
Judeo-Christian mythology also put their own spin on Lilith's legend. They described her as Adam's first wife. This is the one that I've heard most often, is the Adam and Eve of succubus type thing. They described her as Adam's first wife, created at the same time as him. Unlike Eve, Lilith was no meek partner. She refused to honor Adam as her leader. Instead, she went off exploring on her own and discovered the Red Sea where hordes of demons lived. The rebellious woman found that she liked the demons more than Adam, so she mated with them and began bearing Lilim at the rate of more than 100 per day.
Woo! Jesus.
These Lilim went out into the world as demons, some of them as sexy and independent as their mother. These became the succubi. The history of the actual what a succubus demon is can be found in cultures all over the world. India has the Yakshini. Native Americans have the deer woman, which is probably most related to HULDRA.
Yeah.
China has the Mogwai. Is it Mogwai the fucking... No, what's it called? Oh my god. Gremlins.
Yeah, the little gremlins.
So they think that the
lady gremlin?
The little sexy one in the second movie?
Yeah.
Greece has Lamia. It is impossible to know which of these legends came first. Most likely they all evolved separately around the same time. The word succubus, a combination of Latin words meaning to lie down, first appears in medieval English. By the late 15th century, these she-demons were well known and often discussed by theologians who tried to explain their origin and their ability to reproduce. Later, succubi popped up in witch hunts. Women who tried to seduce men were accused of being succubi in disguise, while women who became pregnant outside of wedlock were accused of consorting with incubi. During the Renaissance and Romantic period, interest in grotesque, subversive female demons declined. Instead, artists shifted their attention to Greece's Lamia, who was both beautiful and unfairly cursed. It wasn't until the rise of the Gothic literature that succubi began to reclaim the spotlight, but they were still changed from their original form, being more beautiful and intelligent. So leave it up to the Gothics to create things like vampires,
right.
and succubi. But that's, most people know what succubus is. But there is one thing that I actually didn't realize, which is the scientific explanation for succubi. Succubi.
Succubitches.
So this was the scientific explanation. In the field of medicine, there is some belief that stories relating to encounters with succubi bear the resemblance of the contemporary phenomenon of people reporting alien abduction, which has been ascribed to the condition known as sleep paralysis. It is therefore suggested that historical accounts of people experiencing encounters with succubi may rather have been symptoms of sleep paralysis, with the hallucination of said creatures coming from their contemporary culture. So, I don't know if you talked about it on the episode or on our recording, but we were talking about sleep paralysis at one point.
And the tall man with the hat. How everybody keeps... That's not sleep paralysis, though.
I thought that was that's a symptom of sleep paralysis, is hallucinations.
Yeah, you definitely, because... So sleep paralysis, as we know, is your body is paralyzed because your brain still thinks it's asleep.
Let's go to the Wikipedia.
But it's still, you are physically awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been so many recent horror movies trying to
emulate sleep paralysis and how terrifying it can be.
Yeah, but they're all terrible.
Yes.
I've seen 2 in the last 2 years that are just awful. I actually watched one a few weeks ago, and I put up on our story, I was like, no, don't watch this. This is horrible. Yeah. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Because they just don't represent it right.
I don't
understand.
I don't think unless you've gone through it, you can accurately describe.
No, yeah, I get feels. That. But they're trying to make it. So I get that I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to try to understand it. I want to be horrified by horror movies.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
I want them to depict something horrifying, not something scientific with a side of horror.
Yeah.
Because when they try to do that, they usually get the scientific part wrong, and the horror is lackluster.
Yeah. But you can definitely hallucinate demons, because it's whatever is in your subconscious.
Yeah.
Can come out, because your brain is still functioning like you're asleep.
Yeah. So signs and symptoms of sleep paralysis. Imagine sounds such as humming, hissing, static, zapping, and buzzing noises are reported. Voices, whispers, and roars are also experienced. These symptoms are usually accompanied by intense emotions such as fear and panic. People also have sensations of being dragged out of bed or flying numbness, not flying numbness, and feeling of electric tingles and vibrations running through their body. Sleep paralysis may include I think someone just misspelled that. They said hypnagogic.
What?
I don't think that's
Where
right.
Are you?
Right here.
Oh.
Hypnagogic. I think they meant...
It might be a word. Let me look it up. Hypnagogic. It's relating to the state immediately before falling asleep.
Okay. So they may experience hypnagogic hallucinations such as supernatural creature suffocating or terrifying the individual, accompanied by a feeling of pressure on one's chest and difficulty breathing. Another example of hallucination involves a menacing shadowy figure entering one's room or looking outside one's window while the subject is paralyzed. The content and interpretation of these hallucinations are driven by fear, somatic sensations, REM-induced sexual arousal, and REM mentation, which are embedded in the sleeper's cultural narrative. So, yes, basically when you have sleep paralysis, you're just all sorts of anxious and fucked, because it seems like your brain just starts firing at all cylinders, and it's just what's happening, well, which I believe you can have hallucinations that are like that. If they're saying that you can have people and sexual arousal, they can be oh, demon.
Yeah.
Sexy demon.
The one thing that I've heard is the absolute scariest thing about it is the fact that when you consciously realize you cannot move,
oh my God,
is when you go into a panic.
Yeah. We actually have a friend, or Flynn has a friend in California, and he has sleep paralysis. And sometimes he'll come on, we have really bad, we're night owls sometimes. Well, I'm a night owl all the time.
Sometimes Flynn is.
Yeah. And he'll come on sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning and be like, dude, I just woke up. And he's like, he can't sleep because he is terrified of going back to sleep after waking up after having a fit. He got with his girlfriend. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. I haven't talked to him in years. But I think the last story I heard about it was that he had just gotten with his girlfriend. and his girlfriend was sleeping over, and she witnessed it, and she could not get him out of it.
That was going to be my next question, was, are you able to get somebody out of that? Are you able to physically wake them up?
Unless I am mistaken.
I can change my breathing pattern.
That sleep paralysis was caused by aliens. My girlfriend has these. I wake her up to stop. So you can wake someone up, and I think he did say that she woke him up, but she like witnessed it and didn't know what was going on because your eyes are like open.
Yeah, and you're totally you are semi-conscious of what's happening, but your brain is semi-unconscious.
Fucking, I can't imagine that. Like, I feel like the only way that I can relate is like the ones where you're half asleep and then you dream that you fall and then you wake yourself up.
Yeah.
Because you can't wake up while you're falling. You only wake up when you hit the ground or when you
that's when you jolt.
Yeah. So, that was succubus. Succubi. Are you finding something else?
No, this really doesn't say anything. One person said, like, oh, I'll force myself back to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, it obviously affects everyone differently. If you have sleep paralysis,
talk to us.
Let us know what happens.
Yeah, and if somebody has managed to wake you out of it, or if you've managed to wake yourself out of it,
yeah.
Like, just talk to us about it's shitty trying to like recount that experience because a lot of it can be very traumatizing.
If you want to tell us, because we want to get our facts straight.
Yeah,
we really want to know like the real shit.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
So there's a lot of like various succubus in media, but the only one that I could find, which is my recommendation, is Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
But you can do your recommendations first, and then I'll do mine. They're pretty brief because I think we both talked about our recommendations.
Yeah, there's really, I've mentioned this in my notes, there's really no good horror recommendations based off of these, which is kind of shitty because I feel like I haven't seen that 2016 HULDRA movie. That could be really scary.
Oh, yeah. The German one.
Yeah, but like as far as like my HULDRA movie Thal goes, anyway, as far as that goes, it's not a horror movie. It's very suspenseful. Would you consider it a horror movie? The last like 10 minutes.
I don't know. It's one of those like it's definitely a fantasy thriller.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's got a few jump scares and it's got like blood in the beginning.
And
it's got
blood
some
kind of in the end.
Yeah, it's got some intense scenes, but I don't think I would consider horror.
No,
definitely not.
So that just solidifies my point. There's not really
much. Dark. It's a dark fantasy.
It's dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's what I would consider it. Like very much so along with like Pan's Labyrinth. It's a dark fantasy.
Yeah, totally. But then as far as like, so that's with the HULDRA, there's like 2 movies.
Yeah.
But then with Cerberus, there's really only 2 movies.
There's the references, like the Harry Potter,
Hercules, that Cerberus movie, which Cerberus is just a reference. Clash of Titans, the Cerberus is in that.
Anything that has like Greek monsters and Greeks. Like it will be Cerberus.
Yeah, exactly. So my recommendation is going to be again Thal.
Yeah.
Fairy tale episode, and now we're still recommending Thal because it's really fucking good.
It's really good.
We'll totally go in depth with it, but it is good.
In the Patreon episode, that's what our Patreon episode's going to be this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exciting.
It's very exciting. So then my recommendations are the 2 movies that I briefly when I talked about it a little more was the Omen, and then for the Hellhound.
Yes.
And then Jennifer's Body, which is so underrated.
Love that movie.
I fucking love that movie too.
I love that movie.
I love the soundtrack. That soundtrack and what was the movie? Whip It? The one about the roller derby girls with Drew Barrymore.
And Ellen Page.
Yeah. I love those 2 soundtracks.
I haven't watched Whip It.
Yeah. It's a good film. I think it was written and directed by and starred in by Drew Barrymore.
Oh,
I think that
good
was
for her
thing. But Jennifer's Body is really good. I became re-obsessed with it when I discovered Women in Horror Month because it's directed by a woman.
Oh
yeah, so
I didn't know that.
It's a big like.
Was it Amanda Seyfried in that movie?
Yeah,
I don't like her.
I like her in that. That was her like early Amanda Seyfried.
Like right after Mean Girls. She was in Mean Girls, right?
Yeah, it was about that time, I think. I think it was. I think this was made in like 2008 and 2009.
Yeah, because I remember really wanting to see it so much because Megan Fox was in it, and I was in the middle of my Megan Fox obsession.
Everyone has that phase.
Well, her name was Mikayla in Transformers. How could I not be obsessed with her after that?
Yeah.
But what really took me away from it was Amanda Seyfried. But once I watched it, I was like, holy fuck, I love this movie.
Yeah.
Like, Megan Fox did a really good job, I think.
Amanda, that's who Sam reminds me of. The actor in the Amanda Seyfried's boyfriend.
I thought you were going to say he reminded you of Amanda Seyfried. And I was like,
no.
Sam can never find that out. He hates her more than I do.
No, her boyfriend in that movie. Whatever actor that is.
I don't remember. I'll have to look it up.
But he reminds me of, like, just like in first glance and first appearance, he looks like and like kind of walks like that guy.
Does he have like a weirdo limp? The Adam Brody?
No. That guy.
Johnny Simmons?
Yeah.
You're not talking about Chris Pratt? Come on! Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. No, I got you.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
At least in first
with the
glance.
long hair and stuff. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So fall, tall, whatever the fuck it's called. And then we're not really recommending it, but you mentioned the weird sci-fi Cerberus movie.
I'm not recommending that. Literally, I read an article about the plot of Cerberus, and it was like, here's the plot. I'm not going to see it, but you can watch it if you want to.
That was like when Iron Fist came out. I didn't watch the show. I just read the whole plot.
Yeah, I didn't care for Iron Fist. I heard it was bad, and I was like, cool, I'm not going to waste my time.
And then I mentioned The Omen and Jennifer's Body.
Yay!
And my top recommendation, like yours was tall, mine's Jennifer's Body, because
I love that movie.
Amazing teen demon movie.
Yes,
really
I should
good.
Find it. I love that movie. I like it when she like burns her tongue. She's all on the phone, she's all burning her tongue.
Yeah, it's like so casual. I fucking love that movie.
I know. Oh.
So exits, and this is your episode, so you can go.
Yay! So for blog posts, exclusive movie reviews, stuff like that, you can find us on Patreon.
This blog post is going to be just an informative one, so it's going to be free for everybody.
Oh, sick. Cool.
Yeah.
But in general, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RAHM podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at RAHM podcast.
Join the group.
Yes, please. Oh my goodness. And then our personal lovely Instagrams. You can find Kayla at the KDub, and you can find me at Interstellar Camper.
Yay!
That's about it.
An additional thing is that if you want to send us any content for follower episodes, or if you want to send us any just like little tidbits about, like, if you find a weird article or a weird theme that you want us to do, contact us. So we have a Google form in all of our link trees, and you can also email us at you can email us at rainbowsandhorrormovies@gmail.com. I couldn't remember if it was Rainbows and Horror Movies podcast@gmail.com, but that'd be really long.
That'd be really long. I think it is Rainbows.
Yeah, Rainbows and Horror
Yeah,
Movies@gmail.com.
it'll be fun. Join us.
One of us. Anyways, you want to go out? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks for listening.
Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Jesus.
We got this.